I don't want to be mad at you, but you make me mad at you.
But you just get mad over small things, but let's be
Small things.
Yeah.
Small things.
I've only done one thing wrong. One.
That was a pretty big thing.
Yeah, true. But
honestly,
I'm so happy for Tyreek and Toby. They really deserve this. They really deserve to win. And it was good because it humbled Josh, because Josh thought he was the strongest guy in the villa. So I love that he was able to be humbled. And then Tyreek and Justine are my couple. I didn't want to ship anyone. I was going to cheer for Tyreek and whoever he was with. But the fact that he's there and he's doing so amazingly well, and he and Justine are this toxic, crazy couple, I love it. I really love it. Someone was saying, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, yes, they are giving those vibes. They really are. Because they both know they're playing one another. But I love the fact that they warned each other that don't fall in love with me. And the other one said, don't fall in love with me. But I can foresee them catching feelings without knowing it, thinking they're playing stupid games. But anyway, hey there. Thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. Click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island Games Season 2, Episode 13. I was busy with work today, so this is going to be a quick one. Anyway, we have Andreina and Mervyn. They've left, and so everyone is just walking away from saying goodbye to them. Kendall and Gabby are on cloud 9. They are ecstatic that they've won, because they really, I think, were looking at themselves and the people they were going head to head with and were a bit worried. So the fact that they've won is amazing for them. Kendall, I feel, is using this child to win. I'm going to say it. Kendall is using Gabby to win. And I feel like he's playing into a persona that he thinks the viewers want to see from him, and he's using her to win. And then once he's won, he's going to dump her. That's the impression that I get. And I hope she doesn't fall for him, because she's in for a heartbreak. Johnny and Gabby went to Soul Ties. They were having a conversation. You had Gabby sort of ask Johnny, because before Andreina left, she said, Johnny said they'll try and explore it. Or she sort of implied that Johnny said, he still had feelings for her, and once they left the villa, they would explore that. So Johnny then had to say, I told her everything was real, and that, unfortunately, things didn't work out. He sort of evaded, though. You said if it was in the real world, things would have been different. And it's like, Johnny is just playing games. He just wants to win. And so that's it. Gabby, on her part, was saying she's tired of the gossip, in the sense that the girls keep warning her that be mindful of Johnny, be mindful of Johnny. She, on her part, says, I am mindful of Johnny, because I know for a fact that if he's not the partner that I expect him to be, I'm going to dump him. If that's what she thinks, she's telling herself, and if she's going to stick to that, then good for her. Casey was having a conversation with Nicola. Nicola is just excited to have someone to talk to. That's the impression that I get. She's excited to have someone to talk to, and she's excited to have someone that she thinks really likes her. But Casey is a player. If you've watched Love Island UK, then you know who he is. He will give the girls a false sense of security that he's interested, when all he's there for is just for an amazing time. And then when it's time to go home, he packs his bag and then he goes back home and he does whatever he gets up to. So I hope Nicola is mindful of this, and that, this man doesn't end up breaking her heart. There was a conversation about Johnny, that he's selfish. I think everybody disagrees with what Johnny did, in the sense that he took safety away from someone so that he could get what he wanted. But at the same time, he's playing a game. He has to do what's in his best interest. So we can't knock him for that. And then Tyreek and Justine went to the fire pit. Those two, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the fact that they're so flirty and they're so giddy and they're excited, I think they both like one another. I think the issue is they've both betrayed one another. And Justine, if she were being honest, she would actually big up Tyreek that, he outsmarted her, because initially she wanted to stay with Josh because she felt like Josh was her sort of person and he was going to get her to the finale, and she didn't think Tyreek was serious about the game. So she says, I'm struggling to trust you. I don't know whether I can trust you. And this couple of hours, it seems like we're always going to be one-upping each other, sort of trying to beat each other at each other's game. And it's like, I love it. I think they need to continue on the path they're on, and they will get a fan base for that. I know Justine comes in with her own fan base. I know Ty comes with his UK fan base. And I would like to assume that he's managed to sort of recruit quite a number of American fans. Anyway, so there was this conversation with Tyreek sort of asking her, can I get a kiss? And she said, no, you're not yet due a kiss. And then suddenly he's flirting. Tyreek knows how to get what he wants and when he wants it, because he was still able to get a kiss even though she said no. And she was able to lean into him. And it's like, Justine, you're supposed to be upset with this genius. How are you eating up every nonsense he's selling you? I don't quite get it. But I love it for them. I love it. Josh and Andrea were having a conversation. She is happy that she's safe, that she didn't have to sort of go into the duel and compete with anyone. Josh is happy that he's safe as well. I feel like the whole villa is side-eyeing Johnny because of what he did, in the sense that he took security away from someone. And they are doing the same, I think, with Josh. On his part, he knows that if he were to go into a duel, Johnny, it would be a struggle for him to come out, and he's still harboring beef from the fact that his man Chris was sent home by Johnny. That's the impression that I get, even though he's not saying anything. Anyway, the islanders get ready for the night, and everybody goes to bed. Everybody's happy. They're in a very good space, and it's like, I love this for them. As long as everyone's happy, that's good. In the morning, you have, the guys make breakfast, and then you have Lucinda go for a chat with Andrea. And they're both they're trying to outdo each other. That's the impression that I got, in who was making out more in bed than the other. Because they were talking about the guy saying, oh, he was kissing me on the neck, he was massaging me, he was doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And this one would say, oh, when I turned around, he did the same thing. Oh, same for me, same for me. And it's like, it's not a competition. It really is not a competition. We don't need to hear about your sescapades. You have, the rest of the islanders just chilling around, just hanging around. And then a text message comes in. Islanders, please gather around the bleachers. Everybody goes to the bleachers. They are anxious. Islanders, today you'll take part in a team challenge. The team that wins today's challenge will be safe. The team that loses will be vulnerable. Gabby and Johnny, Casey and Nicola, you will be team captains. Gabby and Johnny, Casey and Nicola, you must now pick your team for today's challenge. And it was really sad because it was, David going against Goliath. That's the impression that I got from just looking from the team captains. And so you had them sort of flip a coin, and Johnny and Gabby won. So on his team, Johnny and Gabby, they had Ty, Toby, Isaiah, Lucinda, and Andrea. And then on Nicola and Casey's team, they had Josh, Kendall, Justine, Gabby, and Sydney. And so it was decided that, with the couples, what would happen is, because they were uneven numbers, they were 7-7. So there would be 3 couples or 2, and then there was going to be one person who was going to compete, and each team had to sort of nominate someone from the opposite team. Johnny's team decided to go with Sydney, and Casey's team went with Lucinda, and it's like, it's going to be a hot mess. It's going to be a hot mess. So what the game was called Sweet Spot, and what would happen is they would lick off a color code for the keys that they wanted, unlock this rope, slide down a slide, and then they would either get marshmallows, what's the other, sprinkles, and this jelly sort of form to fill into containers. And then once they've done that, they had to inflate the balloon, pop the balloon, and whoever finished that first was the winner. First round, you had Andrea and Isaiah. They went against Casey and Nicola. Casey and Nicola won. Johnny and Gabby went against Gabby and Kendall, and Johnny and Gabby won. Ty and Toby went against Justine and Josh, and the boys won, and they ended up actually sitting there and playing stupid games. They're really silly, the two of them. They're really silly, Ty and Toby. I love it for them. It was very hilarious just watching them, they were not making a mockery, but they were just, gloating in their win. And so the fact that Ty said, the pound is stronger than the dollar, yes, it is. Anyway, Lucinda and Sydney, I feel like production helped Lucinda win. I feel like production wanted Lucinda to win, and so they helped her win, because you had Sydney get to the bottom first. She tried to inflate the balloon first, and so for her balloon not to inflate and then have Lucinda come up after her and win, I didn't like that. I felt it was a setup on, poor Sydney. But anyway, once the game was finished, Moira obviously was hosting it, and she was hilarious. I loved her commentary. Once the game was finished, the Islanders then returned back to the villa, and it was announced who had won. So obviously the winners of the challenge was Johnny's team, because they calculated the time and then doubled up whatever Sydney or Lucinda got, and the team captains were announced who their winners were. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Anyway, Once the results were announced, you had Johnny and Gabby and their team go and celebrate on their own, whilst you had the losers just sitting there and just sort of debating their fate or waiting their fate because they knew that they were going to be vulnerable. There was quite a lot of celebration. I think some of it was a bit too extra, but hey, what do you do when petty people win? The islanders got ready for the night, and the mood was just a bit awkward. I didn't like the way Lucinda behaved in the changing room, in the sense that she was very excited and she was telling everyone that she's excited. And it's like, if anybody else had come in and done that, then she would have been crying and say, "Oh, they're rubbing it in my face, they're rubbing it." But she doesn't see how she was rubbing it in everyone else's face. Anyway, the islanders picked up their drinks, and you had Johnny and Gabby go over to the deck to have a conversation. They were celebrating the fact that they had won. They're happy that they coupled up because they're in a couple that's managed to keep them safe. While they're there, they then received a message. Johnny was asked to sort of gather the rest of his team members in the bedroom. They snuck everyone into the bedroom. They received a text message to say that since they were the safe islanders, they would need to sort of choose 2 guys to go head to head and 2 girls to go head to head. And it's like, this is going to be messy because Tyreek has his partner that's vulnerable. With Andrea, she has her partner that's vulnerable. So I don't know how it's going to play out because those are already, and also Toby has his partner Sydney that's vulnerable. So it's a matter of who are they saving and who are they sending into the den? And it's a bit tricky because Tyreek was saved by Sydney, so hopefully they don't send her in. But if they send her in, the problem is what then happens to Justine, because Justine will need to go head to head with somebody else. I can't wait to see what happens tomorrow. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Click on the link in my video to watch my review from episode 12. Bye guys.